Hi everyone, this is Anil. Welcome to Varan Explains session on auditing in ServiceNow. So in this video, we will see how to enable auditing in ServiceNow, what tables are involved, and how the auditing works. Let's get started. So you can enable table auditing to track all or some of the table fields, which means if you want to track any changes to a record, then you enable auditing at the table level. And when you do that, it will track changes to all the fields on the table. But if you want to limit auditing only on specific fields, then there is a provision for that as well. Now let's look at what tables are involved as part of auditing. The first one is sys underscore audit. The next one is sys underscore audit underscore deletion. We will look at each of these tables in detail. Then there is a note here that because we want to prevent performance issues and infinite loops in the platform, so the platform skips any business rules or workflows triggered by inserts to Sys Audit table. So which means if you write a BR or if you write a workflow on Sys Audit table, then ServiceNow platform will automatically skip them to prevent performance issues. Now let's look at how to enable audited table level and how the data presents itself in these two tables. Now let's take this table called CMDB CI alias, and on this table we want to enable audit. So to check if audit is enabled or not, you can go to Sys dictionary and search for the table. So let's do a show matching, and there is a field of type collection. Now Sys dictionary shows all the columns for a given table. Now in that list of columns, there will be one column or one field of type collection, which is by default available for all the tables. Now if you check that field, then it will not have a column name. That is also an indication that it is a collection type field, and you see that the audit is set to false. Now to enable audit, we will go to this dictionary entry and then select this audit checkbox as true and update it. Now ServiceNow will start auditing this table. Let's go and update a record in this table. So to do that, we will go to cmdb underscore ci underscore alias dot list and check if there are any records present. There are no records, so let's add a new record. Varan explains areas. And we can submit this. So now I have only added name to this record. So now let's go to the record and we'll go to history and we'll go to list. So now if you see here, you can see that there's an audit history on this. And if I sort by the updated timestamp, I can see all the fields on this are audited and name is something which I have updated. So I can see that here. Now because there's an insert, everything is having only a new value, old value is not there. Now let's go back and make a change to install status is in stock and update it. So now we should see that let's go back here and go to history on this record and then list. Okay, so you can see now that the old value is installed, new value is in stock, and type is audit. So which means in audit history, an entry is made against this label called install status. And you will see there are two entries here, install status. Now, but the first one is on creation and the other one is on update. So Yeah, so now we'll look at the table itself to see what value gets stored in Sys Audit table. So let's go there. So to do that, Sys underscore aud.list. Again, a word of caution: if you're running this in production, then it, it is better to have a filtered list, such as created on a given day or specific table and so on, so that you don't do a full list. You don't pull the full list. Now, if you see here, this is the update which I just made to this field value, right? And you can see it is showing the table name, which is alias, which is this one here. And if you see the field name, I have changed install status. So that is a field name. Show the field name here. So this is the table name, this is the field name. And if you see here, document key. So document key is the sys ID of the record. So which means if I do a show XML on this, I see that this is the sys ID. Now, old value and new value. Now, one thing to bear in mind is it doesn't show the the label of that choice. It only shows the value. So the old value is 1, the new value is 6. So now to get the new value, again we can do a show XML on this and then say install underscore status. So we can see that the current value is 6, which means that is the new value. So which also means that if you're looking at Sys Audit, it only shows you the backend name, as in the Sys IDs, the label, the choice list, values, and so on. So, so if you want to analyze the data using the audit table, then you need to bear that in mind, that you need to have some level of translation of this into the actual value. Like for example, this is Sys ID. So now to know what is the actual company name, then you need to search for the Sys ID in the company table to get that value, right? So that is how you will use it. But basically, it creates an entry here, and it tells you the document key against which the update has been made and on which field this is made. So now, if I do issue matching on this, you will see that just going to open this here. So the table name and the user who made, update count, and so on. You can see that here. Now, if I come back to the audit table, and if I make one more change to this, let's say I'll update it and save it. Now I should see 2 entries. Yeah. So now you can see that there are 2 entries. Now one thing to observe here is when a record is inserted, there are no entries here, right, against this table. Only when you are updating it, it is showing the old and new value. And it also tells you the update count. So I think because when you see in the record itself, in the history, you can see that it basically shows you the new values on creation as well, where the update number is 0. But in the audit table, we are only seeing entries once the record is updated. So that is about this, and we talked about document key. So now we have an option to control like which fields you want to audit, right? For example, if you only want to audit a subset of fields instead of all the fields, then there is an attribute called audit type is equal to whitelist. You have to add that to the collection record. So let's do that. So we go here. So we go to the collection and we'll add a new attribute. So attribute name will be audit type, and okay. So we can directly add it on the dictionary itself. So what we will do Here we'll go to the advanced view, and then we will say paste that value. So we will say audit type is equal to whitelist and save it. Now this gives us an option to whitelist which columns should be audited. So if you scroll down here, you should see an attribute. Okay. Yeah, but basically this is the attribute you have to add, right? Now, next thing we need to do is we need to identify which fields we want to audit. So to do that, we will go to the dictionary. So for example, I only want to audit, let's say, name, right? Not the install status. So I'll go to the alias record. Let's go back here. I'll go to the name dictionary field, configure dictionary. And here, advanced view. And yeah, we have to go all the way to the CMDB to do that. So let's go there, because I mean this is all inherited from that base class. So let's go here and go to advanced view, and then here we have to add an attribute called audit is equal to true. This is the attribute we have to add, and we'll save it. So now what we are doing is we are configuring this name as a auditable field, right? But this won't apply to all the tables. It only applies to table where for that specific collection we have added this whitelist as the audit type, right? So basically what we have done is for that specific table called alias, we have mentioned that audit type is whitelist, and then we are making this name field as auditable. So which also means that it will not audit other fields on the table. But this will not change the behavior of how other CMDB tables are audited. Like for example, if there's a table called CMDB CS server, then that will still audit all the fields because we have not added this attribute to that collection. Right. So this is how this works. So now we have added here. Now we can check how this is working. Now we'll make an update to this. We'll change the name and also we'll change the install status. We'll do both and we'll see how the audit works. Now if you see here, now once I save this record, it is not auditing install status anymore, right? If I refresh it, I am only seeing that name is being audited, but the install status is not being audited. So let's make an update again to the name. Let's make it as 3 and retired and save it. I will come back here, we'll refresh it. So we'll see that only name is being audited and no other fields are being audited. So what we have done is we have whitelisted a specific field to be audited. Now let's do one more thing. So let's remove this audit type as whitelist, and then we'll set no audit to true on a specific field. Okay, so let's do that. So to do that, we have to go to the dictionary, and let's refresh it here so that my history gets refreshed. And I will look for the dictionary record, the collection where I have added that attribute. So let's open this. So as you can see here in the dictionary entry, it says null, which means that is the collection record. So now in the attributes, let's go to advanced view. We will remove this and save it. Now if you go back to the record and update it, once it saves, so if I again make a change to the install status and refresh it, now I can see that it is auditing install status, right? Previously it did not, now it is again doing it. Now let's say we don't want install status to be audited at all, then I can blacklist that or I can exclude it. So I'll go to the dictionary of this record, configure dictionary, and I'll add attribute called no audit is equal to true. Again, because this is a cloned descendant, I will go to CMDB and then do it there. And here I will say in the advanced view, add a comma, a separator, and say no audit is equal to true, and save this. So now I'm not auditing install status, right? So I'll go back to the history again and go to the alias record. Now again, I'll make a change to the name and install status both. Stolen, save it, go back to. So here, if I do a refresh again, I see that uh, even though I made a change to install status, it is not tracking it anymore. So that is about how you can exclude it. So depending on the how many fields you want to exclude or include, you can take one of the two options. If you want to exclude, let's say, one or two fields, then you can take this no audit approach. But if you want to include a smaller subset of fields, then you can take this audit type whitelist approach and then audit is equal to true. But then bear in mind that if you make a change to this no audit is equal to true, then that applies to all the subclasses, all the subclasses. But at the same time, if you apply this change, this applies only to a specific subclass. Again, if you're talking in the context of descendants of columns, which means a column is added as part of a table extension, then if you make this change, then it impacts all the subclasses or all the tables. But whereas if you're doing a whitelist, it only applies to specific class. The next we talk about the system property called glide UI audit deleted tables. So to open the property, we'll go to sys underscore properties dot list, and here we'll select name is equal to. So if you see here, this has a list of tables on which deletes are tracked, or when you delete a record in any of these tables, it is tracked. But otherwise, like if the table is not listed here, then any delete that happens on that table is not tracked. So for example, if you want to add any table on which you want to track deletes, like for example, if you want to track any business rules that get deleted, then you can add that table here. So that is how this can be used. And next we'll talk about the other table that comes as part of Sys Audit, which is Sys Audit relation. So to do that, let's open the table. So let's first do a config on it to see what columns are present. And then we'll also look at the records. So we see here, it has following columns. The first one is dictionary key. Next one is audit. Then there is table name. Then there is Sys ID. Right? So document, sorry, not dictionary, document key. Yeah. So audit is a reference to the audit table, which means whatever entries are made. So which means it is this one here. So uh, whatever entries are available here, the Sys ID of that is listed or is referenced here in the audit column, and then document key is the key to that table on which this audit belongs to, right? So let's do a show list on this to look at the list of records. Let's go here. So as the table name says, audit relationship changes. So which means if the relationship of this audit changes with the dictionary key, then it will be tracked here. Like for example, if a field is made as non-auditable, or uh, if then it will track it here, saying that it will make an entry record for this in the audit delete. And similarly, if it is tracking a specific field, then it also makes an entry here against that audit reference. So that is how this table is used. So that completes this video, and then we'll do a quick recap. So in this video, we talked about how to enable auditing in ServiceNow, what tables are available, how does BRs and workflows function, and how do you exclude or include fields from auditing, and what is the effect of applying this attribute as part of inclusion and exclusion, and then this deletion of auditing of deletion of records on system tables and how to control that. And also in terms of reporting, like generally there is a thought process that if you want to see what fields have changed, then one way to do that is through the audit table, but there are some uh, pros and cons to that approach, and that is listed in the support article. So I'll mention that in this as part of this video. So that completes this video. Thank you for watching.